and welcome to Thoughts from the Green Room with your host, Jeff Mays. This week's topic, precarity. What the hell is precarity? I had never heard the word before going to a conference last week, and in one of the seminars was on precarity. I've heard the word precarious, thought it was a derivative of it, and as it turns out, I'm absolutely right. Precarity is a precarious existence, something lacking predictability. It also refers to the state of having insecure employment or income. Now, what I want to do with this definition this week is talk about the changing tides of the economy and the division between artists and the non-artists, the 9-to-5ers versus the creatives. I started this blog some time back because my experience walking through life has always been that there is a difference or a divide, a unspoken war, if you will, between the business class and the artistic class. Now, this war is founded and brought forward so often when it comes down to governmental cuts and budget making. The arts tend to be the first thing to be removed from a system in favor of math, science, technology, and engineering. And the governments doing their budgets that way speak to the idea that for some reason the arts are less important. Right now, if you're in any form of schooling or you take a look, if you're in hiring in a business world, you'll know the term STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and math. And STEM is the big push right now for businesses to make sure that people they hire are rich in their STEM, that they've been educated in STEM. And it's interesting because articles that I read, and in my day job where I do corporate coaching, the most important aspect for hiring right now is all of the interpersonal skills, which allows people to communicate very well. And this, of course, is not taught through STEM. This is actually taught through arts. Not necessarily directly something I teach, but it is an artistic endeavor to have that interpersonal skill. And it brings back the idea, again, with such a push on the STEM education system for hiring, that arts are unimportant. You have to have your other skills, which are non-artistic. Again, that divide that exists between artists and non-artists. And it's something that really grabs at me because I bridge both worlds. I'm a corporate coach in my day job between gigs, and outside of that, well, you know I'm an actor. And I see these two things as absolutely and utterly necessary. And personally, I'm a big advocate of the acronym STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, saying that they're all important, and that's what should be taught through education. But I bring this all together because this vlog was founded on the idea of me voicing my artistic opinion from an artist's point of view, and then linking it all together and connecting it to the non-artistic and saying we are all one people. So coming back to this definition of precarity and the fact that I learned this word at a conference, the seminar specifically was on the idea that today's job market is based on precarity. That jobs and the stability of the, I guess going back into the 50s and before, where you got out of school and you started a job for 25, 45, 50 years and then you retired, that doesn't really exist anymore. What exists now for everybody is contract work. 3-4 weeks at a time, a couple of years if you're lucky, but there's no guarantee that it'll actually last that long. Project-based work that leads you from company to company, from company to company. And this is the new business model, right? And I was excited for this seminar, not because it was pointing out that the world is in a weird state of flux and economies are challenged, but it really stood out that the business world's experience is beginning to mimic the artist experience on day-to-day existence. Where does my next contract come from so I can pay my mortgage, my rent, my groceries, put my kids through school, whatever it is? This is something artists have faced throughout history. Back in the days of Shakespeare, you fought to get a patron, and then the patron supported you while you did work, and that's how you got to do art. Otherwise, you were screwed. Today, it's not as formalized as that, but we still seek patrons, if you will, in the fact that we look for producers and people with money to fund our work so we can maybe get something off the ground. It's a crazy system. But as it turns out, with today's model of precarity, the business world is seeing the same level of where does it all come from? So we put all this together and we come back to this idea that this vlog is about breaking down that divide. And I was excited to find out this week that the divide is being broken down by the economy, by the state of affairs in the business world, that it is pointing out that the artists and the business world don't have a great divide, that we are all simply people experiencing life, trying to figure out where our next job comes from at this point. So we come around to the challenge that happens every week, and I don't have one for you. This is simply a little bit of a push to speak to the fact that, it's not even to speak to it. It's to highlight the fact that I believe everybody has prejudices, that everybody is against somebody somewhere. And maybe it's time that we take a deep breath and stop being prejudiced against each other and recognize that we're all in it together, because precarity, the state of our economy, is helping to prove that right now. Well, that said, those are your thoughts from the green room. I'm your host, Jeff Mays, and I'll see you in a few weeks.